In the dead of night, surrounded by glowing green eyes and the chilling growls of a hungry wolf pack, Raphael stood alone, his back pressed against a cold boulder, armed with nothing but a burning stick and a racing heart. Just when all hope seemed lost, a deafening roar shattered the silence. From the shadows emerged a guardian, four-legged, fierce, and familiar. It was the very jaguar whose life Raphael had saved days earlier. Now, the wild beast was returning the favor. But how did a man earn the trust and protection of one of the jungle's most feared predators? To understand that, we must go back to the beginning. It was midsummer in Brazil. The vast canopy of the Amazon stretched endlessly under a cloudless sky, the air buzzing with the songs of unseen insects and the occasional cry of distant birds. The rainforest, teeming with life and mystery, was where Raphael, an adventurous nature enthusiast, had chosen to spend his vacation. He wasn't a professional explorer, just a man with a deep love for the wild, a backpack full of supplies, and a heart eager for connection. Setting off on what he planned to be a week-long solo expedition, Raphael carried tents, food, a survival kit, and his journal, where he hoped to record every step of his jungle journey. On the second morning, the forest greeted him with a mix of serenity and awe. Towering trees filtered golden sunlight into soft beams that danced across the mossy floor. Birds flitted from branch to branch, and every breath carried the sweet, earthy scent of nature. Raphael followed a narrow path toward a deep river he had marked on his map. As he neared the steep embankment, a strange sound interrupted the stillness, a low, desperate growl echoing from below. Curious and cautious, he crept toward the edge. What he saw made his blood run cold. Clinging to the edge of a muddy cliff was a jaguar, muscles tense, claws gripping the soil, its hind legs slipping slowly downward. Just below lay the violent, churning river. One wrong move and the majestic creature would be swept away. Despite the primal fear that gripped him, Raphael didn't hesitate. He immediately dropped his backpack, fumbled for his rope, and tied it tightly around the thick trunk of a nearby tree. With careful steps, he approached the cliff's edge, anchoring himself to a low-hanging branch. The jaguar's amber eyes met his, wild with fear, but holding a flicker something else: hope. Speaking softly, Raphael tried to soothe the big cat as he looped the other end of the rope around his waist. Trembling from both adrenaline and vertigo, he tossed the rope toward the animal. To his astonishment, the jaguar understood. It reached up with its powerful front paws and latched onto the rope. Raphael dug in his heels and began to pull. Every inch was a battle. The jaguar was heavy, its claws struggled to grip, and the rope burned against Raphael's waist and palms. His arms ached, his legs shook, but still, he pulled. With one final surge, the jaguar managed to hoist its front half onto solid ground. Seeing his chance, Raphael lunged forward and grabbed the animal's paw. It was a brief moment, man and beast locked together in a shared struggle for survival. And then, with a gasp and a final heave, the jaguar was safe. The jungle fell silent. Raphael collapsed backward, panting, his heart pounding in his chest. The jaguar stood just a few feet away, its sides heaving, mouth open, eyes fixed on him, not with hunger or fear, but something deeper: understanding. It growled softly, not a threat, but a thank you. Raphael, still catching his breath, stayed still. The jaguar stepped forward, slowly and deliberately, then gently pressed its nose to Raphael's hand. Raphael froze, astonished. He could feel the warmth of its breath, the coarse fur on its muzzle. In that instant, something sacred passed between them. Then, as silently as it had come, the jaguar turned and disappeared into the trees.
3 days passed. Raphael continued his journey, hiking through thick brush, crossing winding streams, and scribbling thoughts into his journal. Each night he camped under the stars, lulled to sleep by the symphony of the jungle. But on the third night, that peaceful rhythm was shattered. A chilling howl echoed through the forest, then another, then many. Wolves. Raphael jolted awake. He scrambled out of his tent and quickly lit a fire, hoping the flames would scare the predators off. But the wind was strong and the fire weak. Shadows moved between the trees, branches cracked, and then he saw them. Green eyes, dozens of them. 7 wolves emerged, lean and hungry, teeth bared, surrounding his camp. Their low growls vibrated through the night air. Raphael clutched a stick, his only defense, knowing full well it wouldn't be enough. He backed against a large rock, trying to protect his blind spot. His mind raced. There was no escape. He was completely alone. Or so he thought. Just as the wolves closed in, a thunderous roar cut through the forest like a blade. The wolves stopped, startled. From the darkness emerged a familiar shape, muscular, silent, and fierce. The Jaguar. It stood between Raphael and the wolves, eyes locked onto the pack. It let out another roar, this one even louder, shaking the very air around them. The wolves hesitated, but they didn't retreat. They growled, snarled, and advanced. The Jaguar stood its ground. With a powerful stomp, it struck the earth with its front paws. The ground trembled. One of the wolves lunged forward, only to be struck down in a flash of claws and fury. The wolf yelped and limped away. That was all it took. The rest of the pack lost their nerve. Snarling and whining, they scattered into the night, tails tucked, defeated. Raphael stood frozen, breathless, staring at the Jaguar who had just saved his life. Again. As the fire flared stronger, casting long shadows into the trees, the Jaguar turned to Raphael. It approached, slowly, deliberately. Raphael stepped forward too, cautiously, respectfully. The Jaguar lowered its head and let out a soft, almost comforting growl. Raphael knelt, placed a hand gently on the animal's head, and whispered, "Thank you." He didn't know if the Jaguar understood the words, but he believed it felt the gratitude. They stayed there for a moment longer, 2 souls from different worlds, connected by fate, survival, and something deeper. Then, just as before, the Jaguar turned and slipped back into the forest, its massive form fading into the night like a spirit. The next morning, Raphael packed his gear. The forest had given him more than he had come for. It had tested him, terrified him, and ultimately transformed him. He decided to return home earlier than planned. But as he hiked back towards civilization, his thoughts never strayed far from the Jaguar. Stopping at a roadside cafe, Raphael shared his incredible story with a few locals. Most were skeptical, but one old man, his face weathered like tree bark, nodded knowingly. That, the man said, was a rare gift from the forest. Not many receive it. Fewer still survive to tell the tale. Raphael smiled. He knew it hadn't just been luck. It had been courage, respect, and maybe, just maybe, a little bit of destiny. From that day forward, every time Raphael gazed toward the Amazon, he remembered those golden eyes watching from the cliff, the paw in his hand, the soft growl in the dark. And in his heart, he believed the Jaguar still roamed the forest, not as a threat, but as a protector. Because sometimes the wild remembers kindness, and sometimes it repays it.